Hello everyone and welcome to Some Plus Cuisine. My name is Harper if you did not know, and today I am going to show you how to make my easy, simple, and insanely delicious and also quite healthy veggie omelet. So let's begin. So of course the ingredients and the full out recipe will be right down below in the description down below, so you can check it out there. And let us begin by cutting up our vegetables. So of course you'll be thinly slicing the onions, dicing the red peppers, and then mincing the garlic. Now I have to say that you can easily put in more vegetables or fewer vegetables, or mix and match. So of course if you don't like red onions, you can substitute mushrooms, and if you don't like onions, you can put green onions. So more or less when it comes to vegetables you can easily customize it, but try to keep to the ratios that I have in the actual recipe or ingredient list. I have to also say that I like really stuffing my omelets to a point that they usually kind of fall apart a little bit. Now I myself think it's okay. I have ways that I'll show you of course to keep the omelet to look aesthetically pleasing as it is, or make it look less like a hot mess. But if you don't like that, of course you can add an extra egg, or you can just reduce the vegetables. Now I myself would actually reduce the vegetables, as bad as that sounds, because if you add extra egg and if you have the same pan I'm using, or the same size of pans that I'm using, the actual omelet actually won't flip very easily. I tried it with 2 eggs and it was a really hard time to flip. So if you are using 2 eggs, then I would definitely say use a skillet or griddle. So more or less, from that being said, after you're done cutting up all the vegetables, bring over all the vegetables to the stove, heat up the pan to medium and high heat, put it down to around low to medium heat, put in some oil, and then start cooking your vegetables. Now I like cooking all my vegetables individual orders and then adding them all together all at once, and I see this as a really great way to evenly spread all the vegetables on the omelet. But if you just want to do a one pan, put it all in, cook it together, throw it all out, you can do that too. But more or less the first thing you do, if you're using the way I'm doing it, is to first toast up the minced garlic. You want to have the garlic nice and tender and also golden brown, and then after that pour in your spinach and then saute that up until it's nice and sweated, and then remove it onto a plate and then pour on a little bit more oil. Cook the onions. Now I seasoned everything with salt and pepper, but for the onions I also added some Italian seasoning, which I thought was delicious. If you don't have Italian season, don't do it, but honestly if you do, it's great, new flavor to make the omelet a little bit more flavorful and a little bit more unique, which I really like. Now after the onions are nice and tender and also a little bit golden brown, remove it onto the same plate, and then finally cook your red peppers or green peppers or yellow peppers. Really, they're all the same, they just look different, and I think they actually do taste a little bit different if you're like really picky or have like distinguished palate, but I don't, so I don't see the difference. But more or less cook that too and season with salt and pepper. Now when all your vegetables are cooked nice and tender, a little bit golden brown and not blackened, not too cooked, because you're cooking them again slightly with the omelet, of course come back to wherever you're prepping everything and crack in your egg, add in a teaspoon of half and half or cream, season with salt and pepper, and as an added little optional bonus also pour in some red pepper flakes. I really like this because the red pepper flakes give a little bit of hotness with the omelet, and then you don't have to douse it in hot sauce later, which I think is really great. Beat up the mixture until everything is combined and then come back to your pan. Now if the pan is slightly clean, doesn't have a lot of stuff on it, pour in a little more oil, keep the pan on medium to low heat, pour in your egg. Now after that you want to more or less spread the egg around by holding on to the pan and more or less moving around so all the egg is spread evenly onto the pan, and then start ladling on your vegetables evenly so everything is spread out nice and easily. Now I also know that you can also put all the ingredients on one side of the pan and then fold the non-vegetable covered side onto the vegetable covered side, which is also a really good idea, but I have always been taught to of course spread the vegetables everywhere, so that might just be a bad habit that I have, but it's a habit that I have kept and I'll probably keep until I don't, and then I won't. So yeah, and then the final step to stuff your omelet is to spread on almost all of the shredded cheddar cheese. Now after that, try to get all the sides of the omelet off the pan by, just scraping around the edges, and then try to fold the omelet. If it doesn't work that well, just try to press it down, try to keep it in place. It's a little bit of a hot mess at this point, so more or less this is just damage control. And then after a few seconds, just flip it over, and then it should be done cooking because everything is cooked already, and the egg cooks very quickly. Remove the omelet from the plate, and then finally garnish with some cheese. Now, I just use the rest of the 1 ounce of cheese, but if you want to cover the whole omelet, which makes it way more unhealthier, which kind of like, disregards the whole it's a healthy omelet statement that I had before, then do it. And this is also a great way for the omelet to cool down because the heat is rising into the cheese and melting the cheese. And then finally, of course, you can garnish with other little things like, green onions, parsley, chives, whatever, but I did it. From there, of course, you can also season a little bit more with salt and pepper, just because honestly, if you season all your vegetables nicely, you probably don't have to season your omelet one more time because all the vegetables are seasoned. But if you want to, you can. And then that is all. That is my simple, delicious, pretty healthy if you, put a lot of vegetables and not a lot of cheese, but then kind of, gets kind of wonkus if you do the opposite. But most importantly, it is an insanely filling and quite delicious dish. And it's a great breakfast, brunch, or even dinner option if you do breakfast dinners, because those are really fun to make. But with that being said, that is the end of the video. So of course, if you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from what, just subscribe. I hope you have an amazing day. I will see you next time, and as usual, goodbye.